Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on Indian ethos in management, and we are discussing spirituality at workplace. In the previous lecture of mine, I told you about the value framework of spirituality at workplace, in which certain components were discussed. That what are those important components of spirituality and at workplace. We had discussed about some of the important components like benevolence, humanism, and now we'll talk about the integrity as another component of the value framework of spirituality at workplace. When we say integrity, this word is actually a very significant word, and it becomes very relevant nowadays. Integrity is basically, if I have to define, I would say it is demonstrating uncompromising adherence to a code of conduct. When I don't compromise with the given code of conduct, it means I would say that my integrity is intact. So integrity is like demonstrating uncompromising adherence to a code of conduct, sincerity, honesty, and candor. They simply because these are recognized as inherently worthy. We consider these components to be the most significant one. If I demonstrate uncompromising adherence to a given code of conduct with sincerity, honesty, and candor, simply because these are recognized as inherently worthy, then of course my integrity is supposed to be intact. And any organization cannot survive, cannot flourish without integrity. It is the integrity of its workforce which actually makes or ensures that organization grows by leaps and bounds. So the speed of the success of the organization depends upon the integrity of the people who are working in that company. So integrity is another important component in the value framework of spirituality at workplace. In the absence of integrity, what happens? What if there is no integrity? A multiplicity of values often conflicts between personal and organizational life, and it leads to, eventually it leads to feelings of disconnect and disparity and reduced connection with the organization. And this I am not saying, this has actually been reported in various researches on the topic of spirituality at workplace. So in the absence of integrity, what happens? It actually gives birth to multiplicity of values, often conflicts between personal and organizational life, which we can call as struggle, which we can call as conflict among the employees and the superiors. And it leads to feeling of disconnect. Employees don't feel connected. They feel that they are not connected with the employee. They are there, they are working in that organization for earning their livelihood only, and they have no connection, no emotional connect with that business enterprise. And of course, if you don't have that connect with your organization, then of course it is going to have impact on your organizational performance as well. And if your employee don't work, from where would you get success? So it is the integrity which is another important component in this value chain. So integrity is something which is very significant, and nowadays some of the organizations which are not paying attention towards the integrity, they are in news for some other reasons, for negative reasons. You come across various news where you find that the employee of so and so company did not work properly, or there is no honesty, there is no policy of integrity in that company or in that organization. So if you really wish your organization to be known for a very honest organization, or organization with values, people with their intact integrity, then of course integrity is another important component uh, under the value framework of spirituality at workplace. The next component is interdependence. Nowadays people talk about being independent, and here, contrary to that, we talk about interdependence. See the beauty of interdependence. All employees, they are interconnected and mutually dependent as a community. So some people feel that I'm independent and I'm happy being independent. But the beauty of interdependence is that all employees, they are connected with each other, and they are mutually dependent as a community, as a family. and each one of them, they contribute to the process of the goal achievement of the business enterprise or the enterprise wherever they are working. Interdependence is a workplace value. I would consider it to be a value of your workplace which emanates from the importance of working together for a greater overall betterment, both for goal achievement and for feelings of social connection. Imagine that at your workplace, all of our colleagues, they are feeling, they have that feel of interconnecting behavior. They have that feel that we all are interconnected and we are mutually dependent on each other as a community. What would be the outcome? The outcome is going to be very wonderful. The outcome is going to be very positive, because each and every one is assuming that my contribution has to be there towards the process of goal achievement of my business enterprise. So we all are interconnected. If somehow I am not able to contribute, my colleague is going to help me in contributing in that direction. So we all can have a shared goal. This is called the shared goal, that this goal is shared among all, and whatever outcome comes, that is also shared. So this interdependence, when we combine these outcomes, it enhances intrinsic motivation and it facilitates the social contract, thereby enhancing feelings of identity with your organization and loyalty towards it. I feel that my identity is from that organization. I am loyal to this to the workplace where I work, and this comes from the interdependence. This will never come from being independent. If I feel that I'm the one who is making contribution in this organization, and wherever I go, I can make a contribution. There is no rule of others. Then of course my personal growth would be there. But what about the loyalty? What about the organizational growth? That would always suffer if you have that feel of being independent only. So interdependence is another important component in the value framework. The next one is justice. What is justice? Employees who expect to be treated fairly, they are happier and more productive. They Those who expect to be treated fairly, they are supposed to be happier and more productive, and their organizations see higher financial outcomes if that kind of expectations are evinced in practice. Some people think that justice and equality, they are the same. There is a slight difference between the two. Equality means you are treating each and every one with the parity. There is no disparity while treating your workforce, and they assume that their voice is heard by the top management. They listen to your voice. Your suggestions are valued. But employees who wish to, here we are talking about the fair treatment. There we were talking about treating equally. Here we are talking about the treatment which is fair, that is going to ensure happiness, and it increases the productivity of a workforce. So what is needed here is that if we somehow believe that my employees have this feel that they are fairly being treated, then of course the financial outcome is supposed to be positive. So employees, their sense of job satisfaction is directly connected to the perceived justice of employees' decision making. That my boss, whatever decision my boss is going to take, that would actually, I perceive it to be the justice of my employees' decision making. I have faith in my employees' decision making, their policies, practices, and decision implementation procedures. If I have faith in that I would be treated fairly, then of course the sense of job satisfaction which I would get from my company would be unmatchable, would always be positive, would always have positive impact in my performance and also the performance of the organization. Even during the periods of downsizing, there are a number of case studies here, that during the period of downsizing, what happens? The employees are being fired. At times company goes for cutting cost, at times they go for saying a goodbye to their workforce. Since they are into the downsizing mode, they have to reduce the number of workforce. At that time also, it has been observed by the way of researchers that organizational leaders who are subject to the same sacrifices as their employees, what they do, whenever they speak with them directly and transparently about the cuts, that why are we cutting the cost, why are we reducing the number of workforce, and if they somehow communicate, if they are able to communicate the reasons behind them to their workforce, the expected outcome and also the timeline, what will happen? They can still retain high levels of loyalty and productivity and reduce the theft and other negative impacts. If you are able to, as a leader, if you are able to communicate this to your workforce, that even during the downsizing process, when you are saying a goodbye to your workforce, or you are reducing your cost, you may offer a cut in salary also, then too you can retain high levels of loyalty and productivity in your employees by only one thing, by the way of by reflecting the justice in your behavior, in your policies, in your vision, in your mission, in your goals. So whatever practices my company follows, if my employees are having faith into that, that yes, I would be fairly treated by my superiors, then of course they can retain the high levels of loyalty. Because what happens the moment you say that the cost is being cut, or you are no more the part of this company, you are going to be shunted out, what will happen? The productivity is going to reduce during that period. And at times it can have, since the salary is cut, at times there are issues of theft being reported and other negative impacts being reported, that can be managed, that can be eliminated rather, I would say. So justice is another important component under the value framework of spirituality at workplace. Now you must be understanding that spirituality at workplace includes many significant components, many important values in it. Next one is receptivity in this series. The researches being conducted in this area, they have shown that threatening organizational cultures lead to rigid and simplistic decision making, that is invariably faulty and short-sighted. So those cultures inclusive of receptivity, they create supportive and open relationships with employees. They foster productivity and creativity at all organizational levels. If you are somehow able to give a reflection of receptivity, it creates supportive and open relationships with employees. And of course, since you have created supportive and open relationship with your workforce, it is going to positively affect the productivity and creativity at all levels of your organization. And you can make your leaders feel more comfortable with risk and change, because many people resist to change. They have greater amount of resistance towards change. They don't want to accept any kind of change. But you can make them receptive by what? By what? By doing what? Leading to, by the way of telling them that we are, whatever the company is doing, whatever my organization is doing, it is basically there to support you while making these changes. And you are having an open relationship with your workforce. See, the time has come that we have to make these changes into our policy. Now the time has come for us. If we wish to survive and flourish, we need to change. So we need to make, and for that there is an open communication which is required with your workforce, and it will lead to quality decision making. When we define decision making which is of quality, we need to ensure that whatever decisions we are taking, that is a collective decision, that is not done by one person and only communicated to all the workforce. While taking such type of quality decisions, you have to ensure that each and every person's concerns are being heard, they are being incorporated, and then you take collective decision making. And if you do so, then of course you are ensuring the spirituality at workplace. So these organizations are called creative organizations. Now what are the traits of creative organizations? They are more fiscally healthy. You would always find that creative organizations, they have no dearth, they have no problem of their profit or their growth, and therefore they are always in a better situation to adapt and grow with changing internal and external conditions. They are always there to accept the changes. They are always there to welcome the changes. They don't oppose those changes. So this receptivity comes from where? It comes from decision making which is of quality, and of course you can only have a quality decision making with collective decision making, when each and every person involved, each and every stakeholder is being heard and their ideas are being incorporated into your decision making process. So while having a discussion on the value framework of spirituality at workplace, another important component which comes to us is called as responsibility. The sense of responsibility in a in an employee or in your workforce. So when employees who have demonstrated capability and skill, they are allowed to follow through independently on aspects of goal attainment, both employee and organizational productivity increases. You can witness the increase in the organizational productivity as well as that of employees productivity. You can witness, but the prerequisite for that is that you have to ensure that the employees demonstrate capability and skill. They are allowed to actually flow through independently. So they all should have this very clarity of goal attainment, that this is the goal of my organization and I take responsibility of achieving this goal. When we feel that the responsibility of all is responsibility of none, it is always said in the management. So we need to actually point out, we need to actually decide that who is going to take responsibility. And imagine a workplace where each and every person is saying that I am responsible for this. And there is a term in Hindi we always find in some of the wonderful organizations, jahan kam wahan hum. They always say wherever there is a scarcity, you may call us. So regardless of their position in the hierarchy, people say jahan kam wahan hum. So wherever there is a scarcity, the employee can be called, anyone can be called. And that comes from the sense of responsibility. And this sense of responsibility, you can find self-directed employees. Imagine that your employees are self-directed. They don't need any direction. They have clarity about the goals. They have clarity about their responsibility. And when they are encouraged by organizational culture, they are collaborative, and they overcome obstacles more creatively and efficiently than those organizations where the culture is entirely different, where the people don't take responsibility, where they start finding shoulders of others just to say that this responsibility doesn't belong to me, it belongs to somebody else. So responsibility is another important component in the value framework of spirituality and workplace. And such type of employees who take responsibility, they are actually empowered employees, and they are more intrinsically motivated and productive. I would tell you in the next phase of my discussion that when would we call a person to be intrinsically motivated. There are two types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. I will be telling you in detail what is that. So we can say here that we might yearn for the spirit work connection. Many have come to believe that it is magical, and that the confluence appears out of nowhere and disconnects without warning or reason. But still we believe that the increasing number of researchers, they have shown workplace spirituality as a set of tools which can be implemented to maximize your organizational as well as individual benefits. There are many people who still feel that it is a kind of magical idea, or it can be a theoretical idea. Spirituality at workplace is something which is only a story. It can be some people call it chupacabra. They call it a magical story only. But actually nowadays, with the increasing number of researchers indicating, approving with their results that workplace spirituality as a set of tools, it is actually having a positive impact on organizational as well as individual goals, the attainment of those goals. So spirituality at workplace is something which is now the order of the day, and if we somehow we are able to incorporate all these values in the framework of our workplace, then there is nothing which can stop us from gaining success or being successful. The acknowledgement to this aspect of workplace spirituality goes to this article by Carol L., and it is on workplace spirituality, published in Global Encyclopedia of Public Administration, Public Policy and Governance. So this is, we acknowledge their contribution, because the entire framework is very well defined, structured in this very research paper. Now moving ahead to the spiritual leadership. When we talk about spirituality at workplace, we need to understand what is spiritual leadership all about. The leaders who are spiritual, because they are actually ensuring spirituality at workplace. So imagine a leader who is well versed into the spirituality, who understands all the values, who actually incorporates all the requisite values of that value framework which we have discussed just before while performing his or her duties in the business enterprise. So it becomes imperative for us to discuss what is spiritual leadership. There are three states of mind, what are the personality types, religion versus spirituality, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, and eventually the spiritual leadership is something which now we are going to discuss. So henceforth we will discuss about the three states of mind. I have already discussed in the previous lecture of mine about model 4, which talks about three gunas, three merits. There are three states of mind corresponding to those three merits. There are three states of mind, their names are tamasic state of mind, rajasic state of mind, and sattvic state of mind, based on the prominence of raj, sat, and tam. So these qualities we have already discussed, so I will not be discussing more about this tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. So these three reflect the transactional, transformational, and transcendental attitudes towards life. And the present day problem which we are witnessing nowadays, which is of terrorism, which is of alienation, and many more, they are because of dominance of the tamasic state of mind, which actually makes you more and more aggressive, and it leads to generation of high levels of negative energy, which is nowadays called as negergy, thereby reducing the happiness of people. So keeping in mind these three states of mind, we can find the various permutation and combination of R, S, and T. So we all accept that a mindset change from tamas to sattva is needed if you really wish to create a transformation from negative energy to positive energy, and you can call it synergy. If you want to transform your energy, that is negative energy, towards synergy, then you will have to make a move from tamas to sattva. That is the only way. And it may be indicated that the guna theory, which is merit theory, it identifies four types of persons, that is T type, RT type, RS types, and S types. So I will be telling you based on these three states of mind what type of personalities we can witness. So there are number of personality types on the basis of this R, S, and T. And you can find that if you have prominence of R, what will happen to you. If you have prominence of S, what will happen to you. If there is prominence of tamas in a person, you can see in this in this diagram. In this diagram we find that you can find criminals. They have prominence of what? Criminals have prominence of tamas. So this tamas indicates, it actually leads to a lot of aggressiveness in a person, and this tamas actually, if you find a personality to be that of criminal minded, then from where it comes? Because it has that tamas in abundance. If you find the rajasic good, that is the prominence of R, what will happen? If you find the prominence of S, but you can find a person where it is a combination of all three, R, S, and T, all three are present. So depending on the prominence of R, S, or T, your personality would actually be defined. So your personality type depends upon the prominence of either R or S or T. If Rajas is prominent, what kind of person you would become? What would be your life orientation? Your life orientation would be different. If you have greater concern towards the sattva, then of course you would actually be a different person. You would actually behave in a different manner, and the combination of this R, S, and T will actually define the type of person you are, whether you are rajasic type, or you are sattvic type, or you are rajasic sattvic type, or you are rajasic tamasic type. So accordingly your career goals, your behavior, your attitude, your goals, your targets, everything would actually be defined. So where comes the spiritual leadership? I just gave you the brief idea about the personality types based on the prominence of R, S and T. Now, what is spiritual leadership? Before telling you about spiritual leadership, let me clarify what is the difference between religion and spirituality. Religion is concerned with the faith in the claims of one faith or tradition. I have faith in one tradition, I have faith in one particular stream, that is my religion. It is connected with the religious teachings, it can be ritual prayers, it can be anything which is concerned with my faith, with my trust in some of the traditions which I follow, that is called religion. But spirituality is concerned with those qualities of human spirit. For instance, we talk about love and compassion, we talk about patience, we talk about forgiveness, we talk about contentment, we talk about tolerance, we talk about a sense of responsibility, we talk about a sense of wholeness and harmony. That is something with which spirituality is concerned. So, spirituality has nothing to do with the faith system, with the way I pray, with the way I worship, with the way I actually show, I listen to the preachings of some people, some leaders. Spirituality here is concerned with the qualities of human spirit. For instance, I told you about the forgiveness. It is a quality which is with which spirituality is connected. Contentment is another quality. Tolerance, patience, compassion, these are the qualities with which spirituality is closely concerned with. So, it brings happiness to both self and others. If we look at the different components of spirituality and with which it is connected, they actually ensure happiness to both self and others. And the common bridge between spirituality and religion is altruistic love, or you can say regard or devotion to the interest of others. When I pay heed, when I duly regard the devotion or regard or devotion to the interest of others, it means I am actually finding that altruistic love or emotion which I am spreading. So, the common bridge between the spirituality and religion is this altruistic love. Because of it, some people feel that religion and spirituality, these are synonymous to each other and they can be used interchangeably. In religion, this is manifested through the golden rule which is common to all major religions. And spiritual leadership theory is a causal leadership model for the transformation of any business organization, which is designed to create an intrinsically motivated learning organizations. Now, what is that intrinsically motivated organization? We need to understand where the person wants that whatever work is given to me, I'll do. And spiritual leadership, it comprises the value, attitudes and behaviors which one must adopt to intrinsically motivate one's self. I have to motivate my own self, and for that I am actually motivating myself, and of course after doing so I will be motivating others also. So, they have a sense of a spiritual well-being by the way of calling and membership, that is they experience meaning in their lives, they have a sense of making a difference and they feel understood and appreciated. Now, the question comes, what is the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, and after explaining this I would conclude today's lecture of mine. Extrinsic motivation basically is, if you look at the basic guiding force of this extrinsic motivation is, give me a reward to work. I am working because I need a reward. Imagine I am working because I need a reward. So, effort, I am making effort and then I am performing because of reward. Since I got reward, I would again make an effort. So, it is a cyclical process. So, it starts from effort and then performance, eventually reward. So, reward is actually the guiding factor. So, I want a reward to work, whereas if I talk about intrinsic motivation, it is opposite. My work is my reward. So, I am making effort and then I am performing because my work itself is my reward. So, I do not need any reward. I am working because my work is my reward. So, this is the basic difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. In the next lecture of mine, I will be telling you in great detail about the spiritual leadership. I hope you must have understood today's lecture of mine. Thank you so much.